Where it stops, no one knows. We're going head into the unknown. Na, 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 na.
Dang it might help if I unmute myself. Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome back to Criminality. Or if this is your first time here, welcome to Criminality. So it's good to see you guys. Thank you guys for being here. I think Sleuthy is going to be joining me shortly, so I know she has a lot to say on this topic. So let me say hi to you guys really quick, and we're going to get started because there is a lot happening in the Idaho case currently. We are not going to be able to cover it all tonight, so tomorrow we will be live again to break down some of the documents, hopefully in a more organized manner than I did the last time we went through documents. But today we're really going to be talking a lot about the path of travel based on the state's documents that have been released. And yeah, I'm going through today's documents, CH. It's great. I mean, they're back to back. Some are just, you know, hoopla, so it looks like there's really more than there is. So it's kind of just digging through. But there is a ton. There's just a ton. There's a ton that I still need to go through, and then the stuff from today. So let me say hi to you guys, and we're going to get started talking about the path of travel. So hi, Shiloh. What's up, Dina? Hi, Hammy. Hey, Dom S. Yes, thank you so much for the PayPal. I got it earlier. I appreciate that very, very much. Hi, Thomas. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Tia. CH, I was talking to you a second ago, but hello. Hi, Angel. Popping my head in here with an innocence point of view. If it feels too guilt-focused, I'll bow out. Feeling sensitive. I think with this case on this channel, I feel like we are probably a good 50-50. The poll I put up might actually help kind of determine that for who's actually watching this video anyway. But I feel like we're a good 50-50 on this case. So I don't know. I think that's kind of how the chat is, Angel, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. If you got to dip, I understand it. Hi, Tier. How do dare to follow you down? I do dare to follow you down. I was like, I can't fucking read. Oh my gosh. Hey, Serendipity. Hey, Luke. Brian owned a baklava once, almost a year before the murders. Big deal. Well, it might be a big deal if he was in Delphi in 2017. Hi, Beth. Hey, Gretel. Hi, Gail. Hi, Snappy. The smiling photo of you looks like Renee Rapp. I don't know who that is. So I think, you know, and it's weird because the photo that it's just like my social media photo for whatever reason, it just kind of became that. I have straight hair. My hair was straightened that day. I have curly hair. And so a lot of people think when my hair is curly, like I made it curly, but ironically, the picture is straight hair, which I made straight. So it's actually the opposite, but whatevs. It is what it is. I have no idea why I just told you guys that, but you know, whatever. Hey, passenger. What's up, LA? Hi, Chelsea. So you see, you got my response. Terry, did I say hi to you? Hi, Terry, if I didn't. Janet, hello. I need a third option for that poll. Unsure. I'm leaning guilty, but if Ann Taylor can draw a very clear and fact-based line to how BK's DNA got on that sheath, I can see a not guilty. It would have to be very clear and fact-based. I would agree with you. I could see it. And if there's an attorney that could do it, it's probably going to be her. Hi, Karen. Hey, Laura. What's up, woman? Hey, Judge Jessica. Chancey, did I say hi to you? You know what? I commented back to you. I said, you're at the bar and you need to, like, you're starting to feel ill and need to go home and rest and watch true crime. CH, does anyone know which doc has BK's final exam? Which document has it from 2020? I'm assuming, God, that would be a sleuthy question for sure, because I remember stuff, but I don't ever remember where the fuck I saw it. I need a third category, the old waiting for trial camp. Hey, Connie. Hey, Legal Lacey. Don't be. I'd much rather have straight hair. Hello. I'm mad about Maya. I listened to this book that came out yesterday called This Book Will Bury Me. It's a fictionalized version of this case down to a T. No shit. When did it come out, Maya? Mad about Maya? That would be interesting. I don't think I've heard of it. I'm a big reader, so I would like to hear it anyway. Hey, Aaron. I have been reading through the docs. I'm still 100% on the innocent side. See, there you go. Yeah, I think we're definitely half-half. Tia says, I'm uneducated on this case, so I need help. Oh, girl, there is so much to this. There's so much to this case. Oh, Tia, while you're here, I was going to message you anyway and ask you, Rachel Morin trial, still happening in a couple weeks? Or has there been anything that's changed? Hey, Bree. Hey, Sunflower. Yeah, I think there's a good mix. Hey, Janet. Hey, Johnny. Let me leave the bar. You're like, I have to go. I have other things to do. I don't need to socialize with these crazy people here. I've got other crazy people to talk to. What's up, Journey? Hey, Cleveland. Good to see you. And I was like, I'm pretty tired. Don't you want to go home and play video games? And he's like, hell yeah, I do. Let's go. Like, you can pick up a 6-pack on the way. Okay, so yes, the trial is beginning next week. 4/4 is opening statements. I will be there. Perfect. Okay, so anybody from this chat that has followed or wants to follow the Rachel Morin trial, it is not being streamed anywhere, but Tia is local and is going to be going to the trial. So Tia, can you drop your channel link for me? So Tia and LFT are going to be doing live updates daily. I think daily is what you had told me before, so if I'm wrong, let me know. I think they're going to do daily updates on the Rachel Morin trial. It starts 4/4, and you will live tweet as well. So you drop both your links so people can follow, because that's the only way you guys are going to get to know what's going on in the Rachel Morin trial, because once again, we're being kept in the dark when it comes to justice in our country. So but luckily, we do have somebody who is local and is going to be there. It's a case that is very, very near and dear to them. I follow that case very closely as well. So please, if you guys want to follow that case, make sure that you guys are subscribed to Decipher Podcast and you follow Decipher Podcast on Twitter or X or whatever the hell you want to call it. Hey, Just Beth. Well, that would make me guilty. The case you might remember it so Rachel Morin went for a walk is what I would really call it. People call it a hike or a jog. And she never came back. So they went and they searched the trail for her, ultimately ended up finding her body, and she had been assaulted and ultimately killed. And they ended up using another IGG case. They ended up using IGG to find the perpetrator, who was Tia, you're going to have to correct me if I'm wrong. I want to say like Honduras. He was from Honduras. He had also committed a crime in LA where he had left his DNA and was caught on camera, but not a good enough visual of him on camera in LA to actually identify him. So they ended up catching him and extraditing him and bringing him back. I don't. So yeah, Victor Martinez. I was like, he has two different El Salvador. Thank you, Chancey. It was El Salvador. I knew I was like, I'm going to say the wrong one. Yeah, Victor Martinez Hernandez, an El Salvador native, was arrested in June after 10-month nationwide manhunt. He was extradited to Maryland, where he has been charged with first-degree murder and rape. Yes, and he had committed prior homicides in El Salvador. So he's going to trial, and like Tia was saying, starts 4/4. She's going to be there. If you guys remember it and want to follow it, make sure that you guys are following the Cypher podcast, because she will be in it to give us all the deets. They've already shut down the streets. He was hiding in Chicago. Did he? No, they ended up finding him. Did he? I think he went to Chicago, but I feel like they found him in like podunk nowhere. No, my memory's not great right now. I've got a lot of information in my brain, so it kind of overrides some other things, other details of other cases. Oklahoma. Yeah, I remember they found him in like podunk. I was thinking Kansas. See, I'm close, but not quite there. Security is bumped up. So, okay, so let's get to the case. So just an interesting, another IGG case that doesn't get the hoopla that the Idaho case when it gets regarding that it gets in regarding the IGG. But oh my God, your poll is making me take a firm stance. I feel attacked in Krebin. I know people have already yelled at me that I should have done a third option, and I don't know why I don't. I should have, and I didn't do it. IRNF, by the way. Snappy says, "Oh, I know that case. I didn't realize they caught him. I'm so glad." Yes. Okay. Nobody yelled at me. They typed in capital letters. That's what they did. Okay. So back to Idaho. So the couple documents that had come out last week, and let me share my screen with you guys so we can. Yeah, he was found in Oklahoma. Oklahoma. I'm going to take this down real quick though, because this is not what I wanted to share first. Hold on. I have so many. These are all Idaho documents too. It's crazy. And I don't even have them all up yet. And for you guys that have been trying to help me make sure my highlights get saved, I cannot thank you enough for that. I was so pissed at myself for doing that. Oh, Tia, did you record his funniness afterward? Oh, I can't wait for my son to get his. I'm like, I am so recording you and putting you all over social media. Okay, so this is the state's response to the defendant's motion in limine number 12 regarding the make and model of the suspect vehicle. So it's getting overwhelming in the document section because we've now got the motions in limine from both sides. You're getting the responses to those motions in limine from both sides, and then you're getting the responses to the responses in the motions in limine for both sides. So that's tomorrow. I'm hoping I can break it down a little bit by each document versus just going through the new documents, and so we'll be able to have like a better understanding of what the motion in limine states, what the response was, and then what the response to the response was on each category instead of going through them as they've come out. So I'm kind of trying to organize that and get that set up for you guys. So, but this one in particular, because it had so much data on it, Sleuthie and I were looking at it like, wait a minute, some of this stuff isn't really adding up. So IGG is investigative genetic genealogy. It's actually called FIGG now, which is because they couldn't decide, the genealogical community couldn't decide if they wanted it to be forensic genetic genealogy or investigative, so they compromised and made it forensic investigative genetic genealogy. Of all the things to fight about, that was one. I love pink. Pink is my fave color. Pink and purple. And made my hubby take me to Target after I got my wisdom teeth out. I bought 4 carts of wrapping paper. That's awesome. He says, you know I did. He told them he didn't know his dad and gave him 4 wrong names. No way. That's fucking amazing. God, I freaking love when people come out of anesthesia, specifically after getting their wisdom teeth removed. The videos online are so hilarious. We're gonna have to just do a live just to laugh at people. There was one. There was one that I'm so like ADD today. There was one video that the teen girl woke up and she said that she had the wrong procedure done. She was supposed to be there for a boob job, not to have her teeth taken out. And so she kept trying to show everybody her boobs. It was like I'm supposed to have new boobs, and she was crying so hard because all she wanted was a boob job. Oh man, I said that we're gonna have to just do a live, just doing that shit. What's up, WB? Hi, Indy. Hi, Callie. Hey, Ella. Hey, Susie Q. Hi, Unindicted. Okay. Yeah, the genealogy drama. It's so much drama. Okay, anyway, so I can't even, I'm all over the place. I don't even, what am I doing? What am I doing with my life? Anyway, motion in limine. This is the state's response to the motion in limine regarding the make and model of the suspect's vehicle. So in this document, they gave us all kinds of data points on where, when, and how Brian Koberger allegedly was seen on camera based on the description of the vehicle being the white Elantra. Now, some people are going to say, bullshit, that's not the car. Some people are going to say, absolutely, proves it was him. Hey, Hess, proves it was him. Other people are going to say, well, I'm going to be one of those people. I don't think that these are all the same car, but we're going to get there. Hey, Clyde, I hope. Okay, so I broke all this down by, this is just my little letters. So this is all the data points that they gave us regarding where they see this quote unquote vehicle. Okay. So Sleuthy and I have been doing some maps. Yeah, we can do maps here too. Yeah. I need to delete a few of these things so I can do them with you guys. So let me delete this stuff. Okay. So according to the document, I went through and I labeled everything. So number 1, A, B, C, D, very alphabetical. When we get to the alphabet again, double A's. When we get to the alphabet for the third times, triple A's. You guys can kind of understand that concept. Free Karen Reed, that's a good point. Too many of the same vehicles in 2 blocks of that house. I'm not disagreeing with you, and there's a couple points in here that really throw me for a loop. And if you guys have an answer, the people who are like, hey, this is adamant, like it's him, it's his car, by all means, help me understand these dilemmas that I'm running in, because it doesn't make sense to me, and I can't get the math to math. It's not happening. Hi, Sleuthy.
Hi, Teresa.
Okay, let me bring the math.
I really thought you figured it out. I told someone today, I was like, I gave up, but someone else is doing it, and so hopefully she'll be able to do it. But I'm assuming it's still just.
There's 2 points I cannot fix. I cannot get them to make sense. So we'll go through it like kind of how like you and I were doing. But there's 2 points that I cannot. If you guys can figure it out, let me know. I can't. So this is very basic, Google Earth map. And here's the pins that I put in. So it tells us here's A, and then the time. You guys probably can't see that. Is that blurry for you? So like A at 3:26 and 10 seconds in the morning. And then B 3:26:35. So what I was doing was just kind of creating a path to see if it makes sense. So I'm going to kind of do it with you guys. So this is from over in the subdivision that is not theirs. It's the one over in Indian Hills. So you can see the crime scene's over here. We just got to orient you guys to where we are in the map. Actually, let me get rid of this first, because we need to fix this first, so we can actually have the house. Okay, this is better. So here is 1122 King Road is right here in this little pocket. It's a little blurry. Hopefully you guys can see it well enough. You know what? I might actually, let me put it full screen. I'll get rid of us so you guys can see it better. So anything that you see in yellow is just the location that's pinpointed on the data that they gave us from the state. And then I'll explain the other colors to you guys as we go through. So back over here, Indian Hills is where the first data points start. Okay. So we have A to B, this is not going to be pretty, to C. And then obviously he has to come up and go around. And then we get to the big one, which has been talked about for so long, which is the A and W that's right here on the corner. So at that intersection. So then we're coming closer to the crime scene. This is another big data point, is this apartment complex at 1125 Ridge Road, also known as Walenta Drive. So not to be confused, because they are apparently very interchangeable. Ridge Road is Walenta Drive, and that seems to be throwing some loops in people's calculations. So we are driving.
When we say they're interchangeable, when we say that, we mean like some houses on Walenta Drive have are really an address on Ridge Road. Like,
correct.
Driving down the street, it goes Walenta Drive, Ridge Road, Walenta Drive, Ridge Road, in the same 1,000-foot stretch of road.
My cursor's color? You know what? I have no idea if there is. My cursor, I don't even have a cursor on here anyway. So we're really kind of just paying attention to the color of the path. And then green is everything so we have north, south, east, west. So just kind of to orient you where we are: north up top, south on the bottom, east on the right, west on the left. So these are all the green are going to be going the same direction. So I hope that helps. But I don't have a cursor, so hopefully that helps with your eyesight. There's no cursor. That's probably why you can't see it. So now we're traveling up, importantly, to where he's caught, or the vehicle. And I'm going to end up saying he's caught. Don't come from me, because I'm going with what the state's saying. Here's Linda Lane, this whole path right here, and then we're coming this direction. So we're going to zoom in a little bit.
What time is this? What time are we at?
So we are currently we're currently at 3:29:48.
Okay, 3:29:48
is when he's outside, or when the vehicle is seen on Linda Lane. This is going to be an issue for me later on, so it's something to pay attention to. So we're currently at G. So if you have the document and you want to look through it, you can label them just like I did, so you can see what the data points are, because I'm not reading through each one as I go. I hope that is okay for you guys. We can always go back. If you guys have questions, I can always pull it back up so we can go through each one. But if you have the document and you want to kind of...
One of the things that bothers me is that pass right there that you just brought up, like the 329 whatever. In that parking lot right there, in that parking lot of the apartment complex, there's 2 police officers with their vehicle and the headlights pointed at the road, sitting right there at the entrance when he would have passed. So that's one thing that bothers me.
Right here in this parking lot, because we have the footage of
they're literally
talking to the boys over here about underage drinking. Hi, Miku's headphones. Sorry, I cut you off, Sleuthy. I thought you were saying something. Sleuthy probably is in the bathtub, relaxing. She was like, Teresa's about to stress me out, so I gotta go take a bath. Okay, so now we have pass number 1 coming into the neighborhood. And here's 1112 King Road. that we see has the camera in the very front, and we know that there's been some footage. Hi, Kathy. Long time no see. So we got to go. We're going to go. So we're at H now, 3:30:22. So 3:30 and 22 seconds. Okay. So then we come all the way past the house, past the camera, past the crime scene house, past all the apartments. These are the Queen Road apartments right here. Past those, and then we come around in front of 1330 Linda Lane. So if you guys haven't had a chance, I just put out a video. It was a pre-recorded video to try to just make it easier to explain, of all the times that the state is alleging that the white Elantra passed the camera. And so it's got zoomed in footage of all that leaked Linda Lane footage, plus the photos from 1112 that came out in the documents. So it's just kind of a walkthrough of where they're alleging you see his car. So passes up here in this little drive, comes around which would essentially be the south side of the Queen Apartments, and comes over here. Now the state says they know this because, which is just the irony in this, is the headlights are apparently flashing off of the houses over here, off of 1127 King Road. 1127 King Road is Jack's house. So they're saying this camera at 1112 King Road caught the reflection of headlights in the windows of Jack's house. So that's how you know he's coming up south.
There's a lot of, we know this because we can see headlights in a lot of these data points.
Correct.
And no, Lindsay, it doesn't ever catch the plates.
No.
Like of all of them, they don't catch the plates. Which is really, really suspicious. I'm sorry, because he literally went through a intersection, the one we just referred to, when he was going on to Taylor, well, heading to Taylor, but where he crossed over from Indian Hills Drive. And
yes,
every single one in every single direction has cameras, traffic cameras.
They haven't told us they have him on any of that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If they're saying he went through that light, they do have. Have you ever looked at the live cameras?
Mm-hmm.
So like they do. They have, and it's in all four directions. And so I don't, unless you're going like 130 miles an hour, I don't know how you get through that intersection like without being seen on the cameras.
They're stationary cameras that they're running the entire time.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, and I see a lot of people say things like, oh, well, he didn't have a front license plate. And like, that's so weird. And so that's how they know it was him. That's simply not true. It is a college town full of kids that drove their cars from other states where a front license plate is not required. Xana didn't have a front license plate. So when they set up like the traffic cameras and the, like all of that, they expect to catch the back license plate. I mean, is it nice to be able to get the front license plate too on the ones that have it? Yeah, sure. But they're not catching license plates. I find it so strange that all these, well, there's a couple things I find strange, but I just find it strange that none of these captured a clear picture, number one. And number two, none of them captured a license plate or even part of a license plate, as far as we know.
And to think, so like as we go through this, he's passing this 1112 camera multiple times,
going to a stop sign.
Correct.
Where he has to turn sharp right. So like he's basically stopping.
So there should be, even if it is, like you said, a partial, it is kind of interesting that there's nothing with any form of license plate on there.
Unless the license plate was removed. But I'm hesitant to believe that because there's cops everywhere, including in the parking lot right in front of where he kept doing circles around the apartment complex, supposedly. And he drove right past them. I would think that if they're noticing supposed drunk kids like 60 yards away that they would notice a car go by with no license plates at all. You know what I mean?
Well, also, why wouldn't the camera catch that there's no license plate then?
Well, yeah, true. I mean, I've gotten pulled over for so I have 2 lights on my license plate, like above my license plate. And I've gotten pulled over just because one of them's out. One of them works and is lighting up my license plate, but one of them is out. And I've gotten pulled over.
Oh. This is interesting too. I've, not to give up too much personal information, but back in the day, I had a bit of a lead foot and I got a lot of speeding tickets. And never once was I ever asked for my phone number.
Oh, well, okay. So never in relation to the ticket I was getting was I asked to provide my phone number.
Fair enough. Well, now you're making me feel really bad because I got pulled over a lot and nobody asked for my phone number. Damn
no. And like my mom, she gets pulled over basically every time my mother comes here. She gets pulled over either coming or leaving because she doesn't slow down. Oh, and then yeah, I also got pulled over for speeding when I was pregnant, coming home from my baby shower in Pennsylvania. I think the only reason I didn't get a ticket
in Pennsylvania.
Well, I was in between Pennsylvania and West Virginia. It's 220 is the route, but I guess it's Pennsylvania. I believe it was a Pennsylvania cop. I can't even remember, but he was going in the opposite way. So 220 is a 2-lane road, and he was going in the opposite direction. And it's basically straight the entire way. Well, we were going like 75 and like a 50, and as I was coming up on him, he literally was coming in the opposite direction. He stopped his vehicle and waited for me to pass, and then made a U-turn in the middle of the road with people behind him.
Nice.
So I poked my belly out more, and I was like, "I'm so sorry. We just let my baby shower. Like, I'm not feeling great.
Have to pee."
Yeah. So, and he actually did let us go, and I think it was only because I was pregnant, but because 25 mile an hour over the speed limit. I mean, that's not even like a regular speeding ticket. But anyway, my point is, I've gotten some tickets. Never have they ever, for purposes of writing me a ticket, asked me for my phone number. And my mother would say the same.
Well, now I just feel like crap about myself. So let's just continue on here.
Don't. Teresa.
I'm just joking. I'm so joking.
I was getting ready to say, because we're talking about like small town, it's different.
Okay, so we're currently at J, which is at 3:33 in the morning, where the headlights are seen over here on 1127. So everything you see back here is all going to be based off of these headlights that are seen off of this reflection from 1127.
Wait a second.
From the 1112. What? Thanks, RNM.
Oh, they see it from the 1112 camera.
Yes. This camera is
Not
picking up the headlight reflection over here.
Okay.
From the car coming this direction. So you can see the headlights in this window, but it's caught on this camera.
Okay.
So he goes, 3:33:01, the car travels, then goes again north, and now it's traveling back over this direction, back to the intersection. We're going back west. So we're going to hit K at 3:33:01. These are kind of just sporadic in the same spot. Like the camera is obviously catching them all in this area. So don't worry too much about my dots. I just threw them on here. So we have K, and then we're going to come up this direction, going back to Taylor, and then we're going to go around to Walenta. So here, all of these data points that you see are, again, just headlights that are seen from 1112 King Road traveling behind 1119. So traveling over here. It's all just headlights. And like the vehicle coming this direction is caught coming, on this camera driving south. Then all the purple is going north. So that's what those are. So we have coming up here, up onto Walenta/Ridge Road, I guess, at 3:33:36. So the car travels up here. This is according to the state's timeline. So I'm just kind of showing you some of these connect. Like they make sense if it is the same car, like fine. If it's not, I'm going to show you why I think that there's a couple major issues with this. So comes all the way this direction, comes over here. I need to stop doing it that way. I don't know why I keep doing that. Comes over here and is caught on the camera of the garage area, the shop area, of 451 Paradise Drive, and then is seen making a right onto Paradise, because this is where it's kind of confusing. This road right here is Walenta and Ridge Road. It rounds about like that and goes back down towards the house. But over here is Paradise.
So basically, my spots are to the right of Teresa's on the other road, like coming around the curve
over here.
So if that's not what they meant, that's how it mapped when I was doing it, which is obviously a problem for like a major reason.
R&M says this is where it's kind of confusing. Just this? Well, so far, yeah, we haven't gotten that far yet. So
this was literally as far as I got before I called Teresa, and I was like, "What the fuck am I looking at?" I was with them. I was like, "Okay, I see where they're saying." Yeah, I'm like, I see where they're going. I can't.
We had to prove to ourselves.
And then I was like, "Oh."
Yeah, we had to prove to ourselves that Ridge Road is Walenta. So we pulled up a bunch of real estate listings of houses that are physically on the Google Earth as Walenta Drive, but are listed on like Redfin and Zillow as Ridge Road, and make sure that we were on the right path here, because it just didn't really make a lot of sense. So car turns around and starts coming back this direction again. So let's speed it up. Like I said, it's not pretty, but you guys see the path, so I'm not trying to.
It's basically the same paths over and over again, but they're about to lose us again. So
right. So then we're back up here at again with the headlights vehicle driving by.
They don't see the vehicle; they just see headlights.
At behind 1119. So we're going back up this direction again. I'll stop here and then go there. So 33812. And we're at O. Is this the right one? Yeah, O. And then we come back up here again. And then we're going to come back in here again.
Do another loop-de-loop.
And we're going to be caught on the camera driving back this way. So now we're at P at 338:34. We're going to go back over here. Back behind in this little parking area. We're going to hit Q at 339:07. Drive back over here again. Do the same thing. Headlights again. Caught on 1127 reflection, but really still off. This camera right here is like the most important camera that they have. Then we're going to go back up here again. So this is pass number 2. He's now passed the house twice, or this car has passed the house twice. This is so scenic. So where were we at? We are at R. We're going back over here, seen on camera again at S, 340:24, and then we're going to come back. We're going to do the same thing. Come back over here. You guys are seeing how tedious this would have been for him to do all of this. We're
not even talking about the timing. Like just that curve, like turning. Unless he sat at the stop sign at Taylor Ave for, I don't know, 25 seconds. like it takes him 30 seconds just to turn the corner.
Right. So if we go through
timing
timing, it's also interesting because the timing, he definitely is going at different speeds. This vehicle is going at different speeds because of the amount of time it takes him to get from this intersection all the way over here where they're saying that it's the headlights, and you can see it behind the house.
Like when he happens to get past an actual camera where the camera can actually see a car, he like flies by. But when we're talking about headlights or the time in between camera to camera when he's seen on camera, he's driving like a mile per hour.
On some of them he's going faster. He would have, or if you're going to go with it, it's the same car, he'd have to be going faster. So we go we're doing the same exact loop again. We're coming back all the way over here, all the way over here, all the way over here.
How much longer before we get to the real fuckery on Melinda Drive?
In just a minute.
Is it after this pass?
It should be very soon, yes. So now we have him coming up here again, caught on 451 Paradise Drive, and then doing a U-E and coming back.
Why didn't he just go left and go and turn around and go back up Taylor Ave? You know what I mean? Like, why this weird?
Right. Well,
why this same path?
Hold on a second, because there's a claim that that there's something similar to that happens. So let me get there. Okay. So we're going back down again. Back down, back down. Back down. Now we're going to go to headlights again. And now we're at, I think what are we at?
By the way, that whole path that you just went with no dots, we're assuming that that's the path that he went. Like, there's no cameras in between there and there.
Correct.
We should clarify. Like, there's no we're just assuming that's the road because that's like the quickest or whatever.
Correct. So now we're at 350.27. So here we have, this is my first funky one. So I need you guys to help me figure this out. So remember, purple, this is number one. Purple is going north. Red is going south. Okay, so we're at Y. So 350.27. He's going north. Okay. At 351.26, he's going south.
But what about the next one, Teresa?
Well, because the next one is also going north again, but over a minute later at 352.42. So how is he going north? Yes.
At 351, he's going south. At 352.
Sorry, did I say I'm opposite? I apologize. You're right.
Yeah.
Purple is north, red is south. I apologize. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, he goes south twice.
Yes, he's going south twice. Either way, he's still going in the same damn direction twice. How is he caught going on camera over a minute apart, going the same direction without ever passing the camera to get there?
Unless the headlights they see is somebody else coming from Taylor Ave, like if you back out a little bit, like from the top, like if they're coming around the curve after he already went, you know what I mean? And it's just a different car.
Well, how can it be the same car?
I personally don't see how it could be the same car, unless he drove in reverse and then went straight again.
But wouldn't that be on the camera? Wouldn't they say, like, okay, so that he backs up, stays there for a minute, and then drives south again? So I'm going to clarify. Red is south, purple is north. I screwed that up before.
Yeah.
My own map, and I can't figure it out.
Yeah, you would think they'd see that on the head. If they're going to use the headlights as a beacon of how he was driving, then yeah, you would think they would bring that up, because you obviously can't go south twice without going north. Unless you make a big circle, which in that case, he would have been caught on multiple cameras and it would have taken longer.
There's nowhere else for him to go that would not be caught on a camera at coming this direction, coming south. He'd have to pass something. He can't go south.
He'd have to end up going back down Taylor Ave.
But then he'd have to turn around here to go back up here. And they'd see
No,
him
I
on
mean,
camera
like, let's say he
turning
made a
around.
big ass loop. Like, let's say he made a big loop. Let's say he went the same path he's been taken, but this time he went up. He would have passed the apartment complex again. He would have been caught on camera.
But he can't even go this way because he'd be caught on camera.
Right.
So how does he go south twice?
I do not know.
This is what I said at the beginning of this live. If you guys have an explanation for where he could have gone or how this could work out, I am happy to listen, because it's been mind-boggling for the two of us to try to figure out. There's this spot and another spot that are really fucking wonky. They don't make any sense according to the state's own evidence that they say they have. So the document would say, headlights are seen traveling south on Walenta Drive behind 1119 King Road. Again, here's my hiccup. Headlights are seen traveling south on Walenta Drive behind 1119 King Road. So going the same direction over a minute apart, but nowhere else. He's not caught anywhere else on camera. No turnarounds, no coming back, no passing by that camera again to come back that direction. It no make of the sense. I can't figure this one out. This is why I said, are they all the same car? Are they going to actually be able to prove that these are all the same car? These are all the same car's headlights?
No.
I cannot imagine that they could. No, I tried to do one as a typo. It does not work, because the next one you have is him traveling north. I was like, okay, maybe it's a north to south, and they screwed that up. But no, because then you have the next one is north. So you have it here. Look, 352.42, and then you have starting going north again at 353.36.
I absolutely agree with this. And there absolutely were police there. And they were in regular clothes and in an unmarked car. So it's not like he could have like avoided them knowing they were the police, because they didn't look like the police.
Could the car have gone super slow and crept? Well,
no, because the direction is the problem.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still. So even if okay, so if I move like that data point back there, and we'll say he's coming south this way, right? So 351, he'd have to stay over here for a minute, which you would think he would have stopped. Would the camera not have caught that the headlights stayed over here for over a minute? Does that make sense? Like, because he could only be behind the house. And like I said, don't pay overly attention to where I stuck these. I just stuck them so I could actually see the difference in times. But everything is actually here, because it's based off of this camera seeing it behind this house back here.
I guess he could have pulled over and turned the lights off, but I feel like they would have noticed lights cutting off suddenly, number one. And number two, like, I think one of the important things to remember is, like, he was not the only car that was out driving around. That's like one of the problems, is that people just automatically assume, which is not like crazy in most circumstances, to think at 4 a.m. like there wouldn't be a bunch of cars driving around. But like, again, it's a college town, and we've seen with our own eyeballs other cars driving around in the background of news people and body cam footage, and even in that Linda Lane footage, like, there's people getting out, getting dropped off, walking around, yelling. And so, like, there were people out and about moving around, including cars. So I think for me, that's why I'm not really trying hard to figure out how he could be going south twice, because it's just more reasonable to think there was another car, because I know there were.
That's where I'm at too.
You know what I mean?
I think it's definitely another car.
And that's to say, like, that doesn't mean that other spots are not his car or are not a white car. But like, I think that some of these data points are all another car or multiple other cars. Like when we're talking about headlights, I would have just threw all of that in the trash. Yeah, the DoorDash car. How do we know the fucking DoorDasher wasn't still out there delivering DoorDashes? So,
well, that's why like all these headlight ones are definitely not in the important category. There's no way that they can prove that this is the same car. And you cannot have the same car going south on the same road within a minute apart without it having gone somewhere else. It has to go somewhere else. And any direction that he goes, he's caught on camera. We know there's a bunch of people out walking around. We know there's people driving around because you have the body cam footage of the cops who stopped the underage drinkers out in the field. There's tons of people. There's people out still. And we know DoorDash drivers out. Okay, so that's my number one, is the one where he's going south 2 times in a row. Okay? So let me start the next one. Because you guys, I mean, there's definitely, I mean, I can see the saying like the person is definitely traveling around the crime scene multiple times, either building up the nerve or checking to see if, you know, anybody's there or, you know, whatnot. That makes sense to me. I just don't think that you can say that they're all him. So we're at 356.24, and we're doing the same thing again. We're going to go back here again. So we're going to go, this is pass number 3, comes around, does the same thing, comes over here, gets the headlights caught over on 1127, comes back up this way, and make sure it's back to north. Okay, there we go. And then we're back over here again at FF. We're going to go over here, going back up here again. So now we're going south, but we immediately turn around. This is what I'm saying, caught on camera, where we immediately turn around and go back. We're going back north again. Okay. Going back onto Taylor. Now here's the second one coming up. We're going to go back onto Taylor. Oh, mother of gosh. I did that to myself. Sorry. That's okay. You guys know where we are. We're going back onto Taylor, and then we're coming all the way over here. Pay attention to what you're passing. Coming all the way over here and going back down this way, back by these apartments at 1125 Ridge / Walenta, and then coming up onto Ridge. Well, what did you just pass? You just passed the Linda Lane camera again. So where is he? Where's this car? Not caught on that camera again, but that's the direction that they're saying that he went. Coming from Walenta at 4 o'clock and 14 seconds. Travels back down Taylor, but does not get caught on this camera that he supposedly was caught on prior, a half hour earlier. So where's the car? Where'd he go? What the hell? Where did he go? I know. Where did he go? So then the state alleges, this is the one that I was saying is kind of opposite of what Sleuthy was just talking about. The state alleges that he now comes up Ridge Road around this way. So remember, he just made a U-turn over here. Makes a U-turn, turns around based on headlights. You can see him making a U-turn apparently. Comes back up Taylor, does not get caught on Linda Lane. Comes all the way over here, and now is caught on 1125 Ridge Road. Comes all the way back up here just to take the exact same path back down here again.
Now, see, that path is the path when I hit that first weird thing with the Paradise Lane footage. I had him doing that basically.
Right. Just
except
at the other
it didn't
time.
make any sense.
Well, we had him doing that at the 335.13, 335.14 time frame. The state has him doing it at the the 4, what time is it? 4:01:43 timeline.
Which is likely the final. Is it the final circle around before he stops for good, or is there one more?
Well, there's a couple more U-turns, so we're narrowing in. So this is the big final path, but then there's a few U-turns that still have to happen. So that's my second big one. You can explain to me how he goes east on Taylor and does not get caught on 320 Linda Lane like he did when he went west. So that's my number 2. This was my number 3.
Match. Like if it didn't match his car and then they didn't include it, then that would make sense.
Right, which would also mean that this car that's coming up this drive may very well not be his.
Right.
Because there's no reason to assume that he wouldn't have been caught here.
Or that one's his and the rest of them ain't him.
Correct. Yeah. True. Or none of them are. I mean, let's be real. Or none of them are.
Yeah. I mean, which headlights are we attributing to the DoorDash person we know? I'm sorry, I can't let the DoorDash stuff go. So, like, which group of headlights are we attributing to that person? Because if he or she is delivering DoorDash to 1122 King Road at 4:00 in the morning, then I can't see any reason I'd leave my house to deliver DoorDashes unless I had multiple DoorDashes that early in the morning. You know what I mean?
Right. Like, yeah,
I'm not going to go out just to deliver
you're not going to go out and deliver
thing.
one. You're going to have been out almost all night.
Correct.
Right. Okay, so he's next caught again behind the 1119 with the headlights, supposedly at 4:04:20. And then does the whole thing again. Comes back over here, comes back over here, back over here, back down here. So now we're at 4:04:56.
The DoorDash is on my list of things I can't wait to find out about at trial. Because they're very suspicious with this DoorDash information. I'm just saying.
It's very interesting. The timing of it and why it's so hidden.
Listen, they were all too happy to let the world know that there were living victims that lived through the attack, right? 2 of them.
Right.
They let the world know that, but they told the people the name of the fucking private driver, but we're just saying that a DoorDasher called in the information and that we verified it, but we're not saying who it was, and they were literally at the crime scene at the time the crime is said to have occurred.
Correct.
I need to know who that was. So I'm excited. I'm excited to find that piece out. And I'm just saying, if it's Brian Koberger, you guys will never hear the end of it.
Maybe you'll never hear anything about it. You'll never hear another word about a DoorDash. You'll just hear testimony that they received the documentation that there was a DoorDash delivered, and you won't hear anything about it. You won't hear anything else about DoorDash.
No. Nope.
Yeah, living victims that lived. Harry Potter's. Yeah, the living victims that lived. Okay, so we come back here now. Now the car is caught. This is when the car comes back here and does the 3-point turn and goes back to the north side of the apartments.
Coffindoffer doesn't know anything about this, Angela.
But Coffindoffer said so.
Her behavior with regard to this, and not even necessarily towards me, but how I saw her being to other people, is like literally the reason I stopped talking to Jennifer Coffindoffer. Like, stopped answering her
this
phone
case?
calls and her texts. I literally stopped. I stopped talking to her. Now she just talks about me.
Angel's Lie says, wouldn't the DD be a witness? He could be. They could be. But we're just being facetious that, like, what, you know, you think you're going to get all this information. This is what everybody keeps saying. Is like, wait for the trial. You're going to learn everything. And you don't. You don't learn everything. You don't learn everything at a trial.
I don't give a fuck if they're a witness. What I'm saying is, you had two people still in the house who were not killed while the killer was free, and you told the whole world that two surviving victims existed, but we can't know who the DoorDash driver is?
Right.
I need to know who the DoorDash driver is. I'm just saying, like I said, if it turns out that Brian Koberger ever delivered DoorDash, I'm going to be bringing it up for all eternity. Because I have that video still. I'm just saying. How is that like the only thing that didn't come out? And then I saw a little snippet from the new documents, which I don't want to get into because we're talking about this stupid shit here. But they said that Xana didn't have any DoorDash orders. They had Ethan's, correct, but not Xana's. Okay. So normally that's like not weird or whatever. But how did they know it was Xana's?
Well, we did get some responses from the prosecution today, and I haven't got to read the ones about that yet. So,
yeah, me either. I just saw snippets.
We can organize like those docs and kind of go through them from response to response so that they are more fluid. Okay, so we have the 3-point turn comes back again on the north side of the Queen Apartments, and is seen on camera. This is when comes up here and does a U-turn. So he's seen on camera coming up here and doing a U-turn to go back. So we're at 4:04:56. Wait, no, is that right?
Right.
No, I'm sorry, wrong time. 4:06:31. 4:06:31. And then comes back over here again, back up on the north side, and then drives around to the south side. So we're back here at 4:07:47.
Can I ask a question before I forget?
Yeah.
How many times total did he pass how many times total is the car seen at the 1122 or 112, whatever, the Ridge Road one, the apartments? How many times did he pass that?
4, technically.
2? 4?
4.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
in the documentation. Reality, I have no idea, but 4 is what we know of so far. 2 going west, 1 going east, and then 1 going south.
Okay. So I think it just is worth mentioning that those 4 times that we know of, that is the camera that they made the identification of, where they extended it or whatever, where they really felt like they could see the car well enough.
Yes.
Not any of the other ones.
Has the clearest footage of the car is from the 1125 Ridge Road camera.
Mm-hmm. And really, you said one time it went south?
Yes.
So, like, I wonder if it was that one time south or if it was the other times where it was on the side of the building, you know?
I'd have to see where the camera was pointed, because those are the 2 photos that we have where it's like a straight on to the side, and then we also have the one that is like almost like his tail lights. Hold on, I'll show you. Let me show you.
I'm just saying, it's also like the oddball one. Like, it would have made more sense to me if that path, the path that we're looking at right now, where they drove past Ridge Road, was the repeated path, like a big circle, instead of taking the same road. I mean, all those roads are like intermixed and they're not one ways. So, like,
right,
it's just odd to keep taking the same road back and forth like that.
Right, and then coming
one
in
random
U-turn after U-turn. U-turn, U-turn, U-turn.
Let me tell you something.
3 U-turns over here.
if I have to make a U-turn at 4 o'clock in the morning, I don't know about anybody else, but like I get really, because I would be pissed. Like it would absolutely wake me up and I would be pissed. So like if I have to make a U-turn in the middle of the street, like I'm really not trying. If I can avoid shining my lights into somebody's house, like I avoid it. Especially at 4 o'clock in the morning.
True. Here. So this is the one picture, and then let me pull up the other one. This is the other one.
I mean,
so
look, like if I'm looking at that,
it makes sense that they're like.
You could tell me that that's a two-door car, and I believe you.
You tell me what?
You could tell me that's a two-door car, and I believe you.
A two-door?
Yeah. Like no back doors.
Yeah, like a big front door, like stops right here.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then just the little back windows.
Yep, and I wouldn't have a hard time believing that. But at least we know it does not have a sunroof. I mean, that's obvious. Yeah, no, it doesn't.
It take me back to Kylie Rodney days. Yeah, I mean, I could see these being like the two pictures though that they're saying are from when that vehicle is going south. You know what I mean? That's the other one.
Yeah, I mean, and again, so even with that one, like I said, if you told me, now I could ask my ex-husband. He would know for sure. I would, you know what? I would be interested to see what he doesn't follow this case at all, but I would be interested. I'll show him that this weekend and ask him what that car is and see if he knows. I mean, I think.
Oh, that's Mike too. I mean, that's what he does for a living. He works with cars. So you know you remember when the white car was brought up on the 1320 Linda Lane, and everybody thought it was the white Elantra that came down Linda Lane.
Oh, I can't even go. Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about.
Are you talking about the dumpster?
Yeah, it was a two-door. I got my husband to tell me what that was.
Absolutely a two-door.
No, I can't remember what it was.
It was absolutely a two-door, and it had a sunroof. And when that clip came out, and I remember all the shit I caught for literally trying to say this is like not the car that they're telling, because it had a sunroof and it was clearly two-door, and like it was from the neighborhood behind that. Like you could, I forget, I'll have to go and look, but we looked on Google Earth. It was like one of the last houses in the neighborhood, and it is a two-door white car, little car with a sunroof. And I was like, that's probably exactly what it is. But the clip got put out like that was the suspect vehicle, and it was not. So that was at the dumpster.
Yeah, that was absolutely not a white Elantra. Okay, let me put these down.
My boyfriend's mechanic, he says that's a coupe. I am going to ask Josh just because I'm super curious.
Okay, so here's the 40747 when now the state is alleging that the crime occurred. So we see him back here at, let me go, I'm going to pull that document up. So we're at QQ. Headlights of a vehicle turning north onto Queen Road briefly shine on the exterior of 1127 King Road. There is no subsequent vehicle activity captured for approximately 13 minutes after these headlights are seen. Okay, so they're clarifying. So north, I was just going to say, go ahead.
Yeah, north on the Queen Road would mean that side street. Yeah.
Yes. So now the whole parking back here doesn't make sense if they're saying that he goes north. The headlights are showing that he's going north.
Which, if you did park there, someone who was limber could have got up onto the balcony.
Oh, you did? Did you see the pictures? My husband just walked in.
Because if they didn't go on the balcony, and let's say they walked to the back door, they'd have had to walk. They would have had to walk right past Dylan's bedroom window.
I sent you 2 pictures of a car, and I asked you what they are. Yeah, in Messenger, because they're on my computer. He said the white car from the dumpster footage is a Kia Stinger. That's what he thinks that
Tell
one
him
was.
I just want to know. I just want to know if those 2 pictures, if he thinks that car has 2 doors or 4.
4-door? It's a 4-door, he said.
Angela. Dad?
No, that car right there, you don't think that car is a Kia Stinger.
Oh, is that the same car?
No, it's not. Supposedly it's not, but shit, is it? That would be a great question.
The same car.
Yes, the 2 images are the
That's
same
what I
car.
meant.
Oh, okay, sorry. I was confused.
Yeah, it's not the same back window kind of shape.
I'm waiting with bated breath
That's
to know if it's got 2 or 4.
the one that they say is the Elantra. He says it could be the same car. That's the one they say is the Elantra. 2015, 16. Which one is it?
His is a 15.
His is a 15. They're saying it's a 2015 white Hyundai Elantra. Was picked up too. So
Same manufacturer could look similar.
he said Hyundai, Kia, same manufacturer, could look similar. And then he walked away.
Okay, but does he think there's 2 doors or 4?
He said 4. He thinks it's a 4-door. So, but he said the Kia could come in a 4-door too. So, and he thinks the one that was caught on Linda Lane on that dumpster footage is the Kia Stinger. So, I think it's interesting. He'll look more at it. Okay, so 13 minutes, but they say that he is going north. So the whole parking back here is gone according to the state, right? That means that he has to park along Queen Road somewhere or back here behind 1112. So, he could park sideways and still go back down. He could park like here and still go down into the back.
Yeah, but so if he did that, he would have to walk right past Dylan's bedroom window.
I'm going to say, for him to have to be going, for them to say that the headlights are now facing north on Queen Road, we know he has to go this way.
Right.
Before he parks the car to get out to commit the murders within 13 minutes.
Right.
So he could park here. He's just not parking back here, according to the state.
Or on the other side.
Right. Could park here, anywhere here, and then, or anywhere here before the camera.
Well, no, because then if he had turned with his lights on, then the 1112 King would have picked up the lights.
Not yet. No, because they only pick up the lights back here.
Well, that doesn't make any fucking sense because it would literally pick up the lights on the house directly in front of it.
Well, we've never heard
First of all,
none of the explanations according to the state have anything to do with headlights being picked up on 111 or on 1119. They're all behind. All the headlights that have to do with 1119 are behind it. But you are right. That would make sense that there should be headlights here. So that would mean he parked somewhere along Queen Road.
Because the angle of the 1112 King Road camera, I don't even understand how that would pick anything up at that other house. How that would even be visible at all in the camera.
So the camera's up here. Yeah, let's do this. Camera's here.
Yeah.
I'm just picking up reflections here. From over here.
But it's not like a 360 camera. It's a
no.
Like pull up the screenshot of the camera. I mean, it's pointed like at the stop sign.
All right, let's take a look at it.
Because it doesn't make sense for it to be. It would make sense for it to be on the house straight across from it, but not that one in the corner.
Okay,
see,
so this is 1119. So it's picking up headlights reflecting probably, I'm going to assume up here, because I don't think
What's
you
the
can
time on this?
see which one. Oh, this is the one that was leaked. This is the 156. This is the 156 in the morning. This is the one that they said, we know we do have this footage, so shut up, everybody.
We need
This isn't the one they put in the
to.
documents.
I'll pull up the other one that's like 3 something because I'm curious if the
I
lights are
have them.
still on in those houses.
Let's see. I'll pull them up. Well, they made these two weird because they like cropped one of them.
The other one looks like it views more of the porch to the right.
Let's see. So
yeah,
this is the 350. This one's cropped though, for sure. This is the one that's from the document, and it's very small. It's cropped in the document.
It's an entirely different angle though. See how you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pumpkins? You can only see 2 here.
Oh yeah.
So, Luke. I mean, maybe it's one of those rotating ones. I do not know, but I mean, they're 2 completely different angles.
Well, they talk about the camera, so we can pull that up and see what they say about it. This one is, what's this one? That's the 356. I want this one. This is the 420.
It's still.
This is still the one towards the right.
Right.
So this is the one where he's supposedly speeding away 13 minutes later.
Can you zoom in on that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess it's a white car. Geez, they picked like surely there's a better image of that. You know what I mean? Like, how did that?
Yeah, right here, maybe.
yeah,
right here.
And also, like, go to the other one. Go to the other one.
The other one? Hold on.
The one right before this one. Like, how is this one so much clearer than the other one?
Well, if they have the photo of a car, light was
shining.
If they have the photo of the car here, then they have the photo of the car exiting here. And this is where I was saying that they should at least be able to get some type of license plate, anything. Or is it just because it's so bright they wouldn't be able to?
Well, it wouldn't be bright on the way.
In fairness, Harry Potter's beard, pumpkins are also for Thanksgiving. Yeah, so we leave our pumpkin. We carve 2 and leave 1 up. So we get 3, carve 2, leave 1 up for Thanksgiving. And then it goes when we decorate for Christmas. Okay. So now I'm curious, and I want to pull up the document that talks about the camera from 1112. Because does it have that wide of an angle? Is it rotating? There's no way it's rotating and they happen to be catching all of that. So this is also where you'd see like the headlights in the back behind 1119. So they're saying we'll be back in here.
Let's be for real. How do we even know that this is, like, I get it, it has a timestamp or whatever, but how do we know that this is not from after the crime? And so, the police that day, they took this, right? It looks like a little light bulb. They took it and then they would have returned it. And I wonder if when they returned it and these people that live here put it back in on their porch, if it gave a different view, like it didn't go in quite exactly the same. You know what I mean? Like when they screwed it back in, maybe it did capture more. Maybe it did go to the left.
Well, see, this is the 156 one, and it's got 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I had zoomed in, and I probably confused the whole thing. Let me go back out.
This one had a wide view. The other ones, yeah.
I think they're just cropped.
You know what? They probably are. I think you zoomed in. You fucked it all up, I think.
I did. I think I fucked it all up.
Yeah, I got confused because we only saw like two pumpkins.
Yeah, I think I had it zoomed in because we were looking at the window over here.
Okay, so that's probably the full view. Okay, so
yeah, and then the other ones are cropped to just show this area here.
Sure. Okay, so it would.
Okay.
I guess it would if the headlights were way high up on that house over there.
Mm-hmm.
You could probably see it. But I also am of the opinion that like there should be better footage. Like looking at this and looking at the other ones is just strange.
Well, in fairness, one is on a piece of paper. This one is a screenshot that was leaked by specific family.
True. A scanned in document. You're probably right.
So I'm thinking that if we actually could see the actual screenshots, we'd probably be better off. Now, I'd be very curious if you could actually, like what you actually see in this passing. This camera is going to be the most important camera the state has. This one in 1330, like these are going to be their big ones. Well, I guess 1125 if they're saying that's the clearest one, but I don't know how you're going to prove that's the same fucking vehicle. That's crazy to me because he doesn't. You got him going east on Taylor Avenue, but not passing Linda Lane again.
Yeah.
All right. So I think that takes us almost to the end of the map anyway. But so yes, you have him going up here, and then you have him speeding away at 420-47. So here's, I guess here would be my third one if you want to call it a third one. So back here to here, speeds away really fast, right? Comes back over here, then comes back up here. And then the last time he's seen on camera is at 4:21:05 in the morning. And so,
well, that's not really speeding. And is it on camera or is it just headlights?
The headlights. The last time that they're claiming that his vehicle in that timeline is here at 4:21:05. That's it.
And they
so where does next one puts him in Pullman. So where does he go?
Well, so they say that he leaves. They say that he leaves Conestoga. So go down. Down like to the main road. Right there.
Mm-hmm.
They say he leaves like Conestoga Drive. And so here's my problem with this. Okay. Because then he supposedly gets on like 95 or whatever. So looking at it the way we're looking at it, he goes down to that main road and then he turns what is our right, what would have technically been his left, go to that big intersection there and then turn right to go to 95. But again, that intersection right there to the right has 4-way cameras. So why is he not on that camera? Yes.
Well, then I remember, like I had talked about, like, does he go the long way? Because they also say that he probably could have gone like out here and gone down and around and then back up.
No, because they say he went to the right because then he got on 95 and then he did that big U all the way back to Pullman.
No, they have a map where they show that they think he came all the way down here and went back up here. It's one of their options, timeline-wise. I'll pull it up. But still, he has to get out of this neighborhood. So you're telling me that no other house in here has a fucking camera that caught this person leaving? Because as of right now, he's still here at 4:21 in the morning.
How do we know he doesn't live there? He just parked right there. He would have been on camera. We know that already.
He'd have to go through all of this nonsense, and nobody else was able to. Not one camera. Because the next time they say they have him on camera is when he's back in Pullman.
What is that right there? What was that was
over here?
Thing was on just then. Is it a business?
Where? The botanical
the one
garden?
That you're... No, go back, scrolling to where he's leaving the neighborhood. What's that right there to the left? The little gray thing.
Oh, where he's leaving? He's up here.
Go. No, I mean like
That's me.
exiting the
I said,
neighborhood.
where does he go?
No, scroll. Go down. Go down on the map. Like you're leaving the neighborhood. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
Okay.
Till you get to the main road.
Well, I'm going this way, then I go this way, then I go up. Nope, I'm caught. I feel like I'm doing a maze here. Hold on. I'd have to go.
You would have to go the same
I'd
path
have to go back
and then down.
and then I'd have to come up here, and then I'd have to go through. Nope. That's a cul-de-sac. That's a cul-de-sac. Does that go through? That can't go through. That's a cul-de-sac.
You would have to go.
Okay, so I'd have
right there to the
I'd
next
have to come
road.
up here and go this way.
Yep. And then left.
Go left.
And then up.
And then come out over here.
Down. Yeah,
but I haven't
right
traveled this. This is the the Bridge Bible Fellowship.
Yeah, you gonna tell me they don't have a camera outside?
Oh, great. Yeah, true. Or the transportation department, the park.
Yeah.
I mean, but what he hasn't traveled this at all. This car, like, is not like as well known as it is now. Doesn't have this back path traveled to just get out of there. No.
Yeah. And also,
I mean, there would have
then
had to
why
been
wouldn't you?
The previous reconnaissance to be able to figure out how the fuck to get out of this neighborhood.
We couldn't even do it looking at it from a sky view.
Well, that's saying, like, you can either come all the way out.
But it took a minute.
Yeah. And no cameras. Not caught on camera whatsoever. All right, let me see if I can find the document that talks about. Is it the same one? I don't know if it's the same one. I have so many up now, Sleuthy. I don't know. Is it this one?
No. Are you thinking of the PCA, the diagrams in the PCA?
Am I?
Probably.
Well, you know that I can never remember where I saw the things I saw. I just know that I saw them. Wait, isn't there a new document that they actually added the PCA to? I feel like there is.
Yeah, but I can just give you the link to it. To the PCA, because it's the same thing. There you go. Oh, my phone's at 3%.
I'm gonna plug that shit in. Okay, so let me see. Because I remember I was just looking at this map.
Yeah, you were probably looking at one that included the PCA, probably, because they did include it in some.
All right, so is it this one?
You know I sent it to you in here, right?
Yeah, I've got it up. I'm just trying to scroll through it. I had to respond to my husband. He needed to know how much I needed in.
No, I just want to make sure you weren't waiting in like Facebook or something.
Is that this one? Yeah, possible route taken based off of the cellular site locations.
Yeah, see, because they lose them on camera and they use his suddenly turned on phone to try to track him. And then he appears on camera again in a whole different state, in a whole different town.
Right here. Yeah, so he leaves the neighborhood and then goes down and around and comes up over here. And then they get him on camera again. It was the piece. You were right.
That's what I'm saying. They have him going out of the neighborhood and going onto 95, which means that intersection that I said he would have had to go through where they would have caught him, it has a 4-way camera. that was the only way out to 95.
What I'm saying is the alternate route would have been back through the botanical gardens and then down like this way, and then back up and around.
But they
where
don't.
He's caught over here on camera.
That could have been a way
path.
for sure.
Yeah.
But they're saying
timeline wise, like that.
Yeah, they act like he took 95 basically the whole way home. Which also makes no sense because there are cameras on 95. So.
Well, that's why I thought that the main theory was that he went down and around.
No, because he stayed in Idaho for some time. Because then remember there was a period of time where he was in well, I don't know. This should be way more clear.
Like that.
Yeah, see, no, they had him take a way longer route. He took 95, like plumb down to like the very bottom of the states.
They have him going from, hold on.
Fine, like 95. Here. I can't tell with all these trees and stuff.
Sorry. It's over here. 95.
Where?
95.
Okay, where does it go then?
I think is this 95?
I don't know.
I feel like
switch to the driving one.
Hold on.
Layers. Whoa.
I don't know what happened. Hold on. Oh, it's loading the other map.
Oh.
Hold on.
What am I doing? Where are my glasses?
I don't know, but it's not wanting to work now. It's like, nope, Teresa, you're done. You're done.
Go to the other one. Were you in a browser for the other one?
Yeah, that's just regular Google Earth. This is the
go to regular. Pro. Yeah, go to regular cheap. Yep, and then go to layers.
Go to the cheap one.
Yeah, go to the cheap one and go to the layers and take us back to the ones that don't have no detail in them and it's just the regular ass roads.
I don't know. What do you mean?
Scroll down. How come you can't click other things?
I don't even know what you mean. This one, 95. Right there.
Yeah, okay. So show us all a 95. That's the path they say all the way down. Yep, all the way down and then over. Yep. See it? They're literally saying he took that whole U of 95.
Oh, not the quick little U around.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. He had to go through that light to get on 95 because it's literally like the entrance to 95.
But the only reason they're saying that is because of the timeline. If the dude stops to get rid of anything, that screws up that entire timeline.
Well, they're saying it because of that, and they're also saying it because supposedly his phone was putting him there.
Right, which is when Cyrate comes in and says he was out stargazing at the park.
Yeah, there's no less than like 2 other paths that would have taken him back to Washington more quickly.
Serendipity said, I saw more evidence against him on the white screen. Yeah, you forgot about the stargazing? Yeah, he's out stargazing. That's his alibi. So all the way down here.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking like just like through here.
Nope, they had to see. This is what happened. Then they got footage in Pullman, right? And
right,
like you said, they needed to make that work. For one, like if we're not seeing him enter Pullman until that time, then he has to have taken the long way home. But then also supposedly after he leaves Moscow, his phone goes back on.
Right.
And is on 95. And they map it that way.
See, I still think it could have been a shorter way, and then you stop, dispose of all the shit that you did with whatever you're wearing, change your clothes, get rid of your knife, all that.
That could be possible.
Catch your breath.
You would just have to see how far the towers would pick him up. Like, if he took that way, would it show him pinging off towers on 95 or whatever?
I don't know. Do you have all the stuff that they have about the phone? Is that on your timeline yet?
Not yet, no.
Okay.
That timeline, the new timeline is already so long with just those, like, that I'm not even at the Washington stuff yet. Like, we're pre-crime.
Which is crazy. We're not even at the crime yet. Bulldogs. I'd rather say state is lying and covering up. The girls are lying. 911 call is BS. That's all I got to say. I can't disagree with you. I mean, I can't agree with you either. It's like, it's the craziest shit. Now that we know that then we haven't even got to talk about any of this stuff because it comes with the documents that hopefully we can get to tomorrow. The fact that we know the girls were awake the whole time.
Yeah.
There is no passing out. So now they're just in the house with their roommates that they're scared something happened to and are not doing anything.
Also, she hears these creepy things and is scared about these creepy things while the car is still driving around on camera. So what creepy things were creeping her out before he ever even was off camera?
I don't know. Like, that whole thing is all this new revelation about them being awake the entire fucking time. I'm like, it's blowing my mind. I mean, not that I wasn't upset before with the fact that they just fell asleep and it didn't matter, but I'm thinking you're drunk, you pass out. We also know that Dylan did not go to sleep and was not awoken by the dog barking.
That's what I was referring to. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
and also,
how drunk she was. Like, she went to sleep. She was done. Like, she's passed out. She's not waking up to Kaylee playing with her dog.
Right. She also doesn't say shit about the dog starting to bark over and over again for like a long period of time. So we have them saying that it's picked up on camera, on a camera audio. The dogs start barking and barking for a long time, but Dylan never mentions the dog barking over and over again.
No.
I mean, what?
And so, you remember, I'm sure you remember WSU Kim.
Uh-huh.
So, she was kind of just debunked about most of the shit that she was saying. And now I'm thinking, do I need to go fucking back and listen to what she said? Because now we know that they were on Snapchat, and she said that her daughter had found out about this weird dude being in the house from Snapchat at like 9:00 in the morning from a group chat on Snapchat. And now we know they were up all night and they were on fucking Snapchat.
And she said they never went to sleep that night. She said they were up all night.
Yep. So now, do I need to go back and listen? Because I stopped listening to her interviews.
I would. I mean, it'd be worth it just to go compare with what you see now.
I mean, that's fucking crazy. And everybody's like, no, there's no way that anybody knew at 9 a.m., blah, blah, blah. And now it's like, well, you're wrong. They were on Snapchat.
And consider the neighbor, right? So we were talking about that last time, as like she came over and she was so nonchalant and just was like, somebody's passed out or whatever. And oh yeah, and they saw so one of the girls in the background said, no, we saw or whatever. And she said, oh, and they saw somebody in their house last night. Well, did she know that because she was part of some type of Snapchat conversation at 4:00 in the morning where she was saying they saw somebody?
Right.
Like, how did she finish her
exactly
sentence?
What happened? Sleuthy, I'll be right back. You got this for a minute?
I reckon. As long as we're not doing this stuff anymore.
I'll be right back.
Still don't get how. Yeah, I could tell. Ew, Kelt. I also think we're sensitive though to like I don't even want to go there. Can't even go there. Sometimes blood has like a phantom smell. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, what was it? Something the other day. I don't even remember what it was. I said something to my kid. I was like ready to blame my kid for something. He's like, what are you talking about? I don't smell anything. You don't have to show yourself the door. It's just, none of it makes any sense yet. I mean, I'm hoping that they could pull it together. I'm still open to, we have the trial. You tell me who the DoorDash person is. I mean, I want to see their face. I mean, I want to know it's a real person. And maybe it'll all be like overwhelming and it will make sense. But like, here's my thing. We're sitting here, like me and Teresa. Well, I didn't tell her what I was doing, but like I went to map out all these data points and I was like, these don't make any sense. So I sent her a message and I was like, can you please explain to me how he got from here to here without being on any cameras? And like she couldn't. And then so we ended up on the phone for like an hour. And then there were other ones where he ended up from one place to the other without being caught on camera. And so it was so frustrating. But the thing is at trial, if the prosecution, pulls up a diagram or whatever, where one of the law enforcement officers mapped out all of these spots like Teresa did and shows a perfect path and like what we're looking at now. And, this was the path that he went or whatever. Those jurors are not going to sit there and be like, wait a minute, the data that you're using doesn't make any sense. How did he get from there to there? They're not going to know that, and they're not going to do it. Like when they go back to deliberate, they're not going to be like, well, oh, their map looks great, but like I want all the data so I can remap it. You know what I mean? They're going to go off of what they say.
They're gonna use it against Brian Koberger in the totality of the evidence, and that now the state has proven that all of these headlights are all his white Elantra.
For sure, they're going to be like, and that's even like, we don't even know if the defense is even going to say anything about there being other vehicles. And not just say, well, it's a college town, there were other vehicles. Like, you're going to have to show them that other vehicles were on the road. You know what I mean?
Right. Put a couple people in the stand. They were like, no, I was driving over here at this time too. I was driving over here at this time too.
Hello, someone was getting a DoorDash at that time. There were police officers in a light-colored sedan also at that time, driving around, stopping drunk kids who were also walking and driving around.
Rachel says, none of this makes any sense and it scares the crap out of me. My son lives there, and if it's not BK, then they are still on the loose. I'm not saying that it's not him. I'm just digging through.
They also said it was targeted, and I am also of the opinion that the target was Ethan. As much as I hate to, I mean, I don't want any of them to have been a target, obviously.
You think it was Ethan?
I do. I have always thought it was Ethan.
See, I think it was Maddie.
Nope, I don't think it was anybody that lived there. I think it was someone. So I think that if Ethan was the target, he typically, on a regular day, lives in a house full of other men. And it's much harder to attack a man in a house full of men than a house full of 5 tiny women. I think someone knew that he was spending the night over there, and I think he was the target. But I think that it's possible that the person who it was did not really know the house. They could have knew the neighborhood and the area, but not necessarily the inside of the house. But I do think that I think that Ethan was the target. I think that the odds of him being there and being one of the victims.
So do you think, okay, so then here's the question. Why go upstairs? I'm going to go with the Steve Gonsalves question here. Why did he go upstairs? He didn't, because Steve, remember at the very beginning, Steve says he didn't have to go upstairs.
So I have two reasons, or two explanations or whatever. The one that I most likely think happened could have been that, see, because we have Dylan's whole, like, she heard Kaylee playing with the dog or whatever. Well, at that time, nobody was in the house. So something was making a noise upstairs. Okay. It was not them being killed because nobody was in the house yet. So if you remember, Anne said something about Dylan saying about seeing Kaylee coming down the steps or whatever, and then going back up the steps. And she says that it was impossible, blah, blah, blah. She don't know that. She doesn't know that it was impossible. So what if he goes in the house, kills Xana and Ethan, and like as he's going to leave, Kaylee is coming down the steps and sees him. And so he then has to go up the steps, and she runs to Maddie's room because, like, if I'm running up the steps and there's a room that's alone and there's a room where somebody else is in there, like I'm running in with somebody else.
Okay. So then we say that Dylan did not actually see him exiting the door.
Well, first of all, she did not ever see him exiting the door. She saw him walking towards the door.
Right.
But it's possible, in my opinion, that when he came back down, maybe he went to double check on Xana and Ethan.
Well, you only got 13 minutes to make this work.
Right, which again, so if you go to kill two people, right? And someone happens to see you and you chase after them, and then they happen to lead you to a room with somebody else that then can see you, and you're in like a frenzy. See, Steve, I'm not in any way trying to be rude. I'm not shaming any of the victims at all. Steve gave his opinion and was largely going on that, like, his kids, well, first of all, if my kid dies with 4 other kids, I'm automatically going to think my kid was like injured the worst, like, because it's my kid and I love them. They're mine. I'm sorry. I mean, I get that it's very sad that everybody else died too, but it's my kid. He talks about her wounds looking different. I hate, just purely from like a medical standpoint, her wounds would look different because her body was different than the other victims. So they could very well have looked worse. And that's without getting into like details that are like, really gross, but like they could very well, her wounds could very well have looked more, they could have looked more wide open. They could have looked deeper, even though they weren't necessarily. They also could have looked more, I don't really want to say like jagged, but maybe like irregular or torn, maybe is the word maybe I'm thinking of. But my point is that her wounds compared to, let's say, Maddie's wounds would have looked different specifically because of her body type. And again, that's just from like a medical point of view. Like, because I know what happens when you cut skin and fat. Not saying she's fat, I'm just saying. And that's a good point, serendipity. So like Steve would have likely seen Kaylee's wounds, but I definitely don't think they were like showing him everybody's wounds. There'd be no reason for that. Yeah, and also if she were moving. Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. So like let's say the chasing scenario happened, then yeah, if she were trying to fight, like Steve also said, of course your daughter's wounds are going to look worse. Of course. I don't know if you know you're muted, Teresa. But I just personally think that it's like not a coincidence that it was always weird that some one person would go into a house full of people. But I think if a man was like he had a choice, and it's like, I either go in this house with all these little girls in it, or I go into this big ass fraternity with all these grown ass men in it, my odds of like not being caught or killed or overpowered or whatever is probably lower in this house full of little girls.
It may also be, I mean, if there really is zero tie between him and these victims, I mean, we can go two ways with that there's zero tie, so why pick them? The other one is the location of this house and how weird it is.
Mm-hmm.
So is the house the target because it's easy to hide, like to a perpetrator? My theory's always been that he enters, he goes upstairs, he goes to Maddie's room, that's who the target was. Kaylee hears what's going on, goes over there, ends up also being killed with Maddie. He goes downstairs where Xana is probably coming to the kitchen to put something away, throw her trash away from her DoorDash, something along those, get a drink, who knows. Sees her, goes in and kills her, and then Ethan is asleep in the bed or in the bed, and then kills Ethan. And then leaves. And that's when he sees Dylan and exits the house.
Well, my theory could work both ways. Like if you switch the floors, let's say he's coming down the steps after killing the two girls upstairs, and Xana, who's up and supposedly on TikTok and eating
right,
and she happens to see him, and maybe she goes to like run to the bedroom or whatever. I mean, if Xana was awake and on TikTok, like I wouldn't automatically assume that Ethan was asleep, like while his girlfriend was awake,
Well, according to his sister-in-law, he was found in the bed.
Well, it doesn't mean
he was asleep, but I mean, I would think that
asshole Kathy Mabbitt told everybody from minute one that they all were asleep in their beds when they were attacked, and that it happened between 3 and 4.
Right. The coroner.
I cannot wait to see her testify.
She's ridiculous.
You have no idea. I think that
ridiculous. Somebody told her to shut up, and they started deleting her interviews. That's all I have to say about her. They were like, "You need to stop talking."
She, like the gargoyle, she's gonna literally, like, at the end of Hocus Pocus, I think that on the stand, she's just gonna like turn to stone and then burst into dust. She's gonna
I'll be curious if they even put her on the stand. They don't need the coroner to do anything. She doesn't need to testify to anything. She doesn't do the autopsies. She doesn't find the victims. I mean, I don't know if they'll even put her on the stand, to be honest with you. But I want to say, so somebody in chat, and I think it was R&M, but it could have been somebody else, that just mentioned about like the girly sleepover. We were told at the beginning that, that since the girls were found in the same room, that they were like sleeping in bed together. I do not personally believe that. I believe that Kaylee was in her room. Based on the photos, you can see that her bed is messed up. people, and I think this needs some clarity, because there's been multiple versions of this, that she had already moved out of the house. So she still had finals for that semester to take. Her stuff is still in her room. You can see it in the window. So it's not packed. Her room isn't packed. She may have taken some things back to her house, but her stuff is still inside her room. And her bed is messed up. She has her dog there. She still has finals to take for that semester. And then she graduates. She's graduating in the December group versus the June group. So she had not fully moved out. I know they were talking about subleasing her room when she did move out, but I think she was in her own room because her bed is messed up. So I think she was in her bed.
And you have her. So part of that is the parents saying that she had moved out and that she was only back there because Dylan asked her to be like her date or whatever to that party on Friday.
And she wanted to show Maddie her Range Rover.
Correct.
Right. Well, I mean, but her stuff is still in her room. So I don't know why they're saying like she was not fully gone.
You want to know what else bothers me about this timeline thing?
But
is like all the calls to Jack and the fact that they're using Dylan and Bethany's cell phone records to determine the time frame of when this murder happened, even though we now know that like maybe they were talking about it over a certain period of time, but like they were still active on their phones and doing this and that. But why is that important? Yet the fact that Kaylee, so she calls, so 226, between 226 and 244, she calls her ex-boyfriend who lives down the street 6 times in a row. And then also at 244, Maddie tries to call Jack twice.
mm-hmm.
So we now have 8 phone calls that happened between 226 and 244, and then no further activity on their phones at all. So why are we not assuming? Why was it never assumed that like that's when they were attacked?
Well, I think if you're the coroner, that is what you assumed, no?
Well, the coroner wouldn't know that. The police would know that when they gathered their phones. Quit giving Kathy credit. Kathy has no credit. She doesn't know what the fuck. She was the last person there.
So Kaylee's mom said that when they got all her stuff from the house and her trash wasn't gone through, the apple squeezy was still in there, because her stuff was still in the house, right? I mean, I think that's kind of the point you're making, CH. She was mostly moved out. Well, she was definitely on her way out. That's true. I watched an interview with Kaylee's parents where they said she graduated before she was killed. She absolutely was not, because all the students were given, what do you call them?
Posthumous degrees.
Yeah, posthumous degrees, including Kaylee. So she did not graduate beforehand. She was due to take finals like the first week of December or second week of December.
I am so glad that everybody
time.
else is asking, because I sat here and I was going to ask, but I don't want to be rude. What the fuck is an apple squeezy, and what are you talking about?
You know those little bat, like their little like pocket, like their fruit pockets. You know what I'm saying?
What?
Like
What is a fruit pocket?
Like an apple, like you suck out the juice from it, like a pouch.
Oh, like you give to kids?
Well, there's kid ones, there's grown-up ones too. Yeah, snacks.
So wait, so what happened? So they said what about that?
That her trash was still in her room. The apple squeezy was still in her trash.
How do they know?
When they went and got her stuff from the house? Well, I believe they actually went and got her stuff from the storage. I don't know if they weren't able to take anything directly from the house until they started taking all the stuff out of the house and they put it in the storage, right? And then the parents could come and get the stuff from the storage.
Actually, the day they put out saying they were looking for the car is the day they brought shit out of that house. But how do they know that this apple squeezy has anything to do with like that night, or that it was even hers?
Well, I think just to show that she was in her room is kind of what I took that as, like to say like, okay. See, she was in her room still. She wasn't, her stuff isn't all gone to where she's only spending the night with Maddie or the weekend with Maddie in Maddie's room. Like she's still utilizing her room as her room because there's an apple squeezy in the trash can. Oh no, I'm not arguing with you at all, TikTok. I'm just telling you that's impossible because she would have already gotten a degree then. So no, I'm not arguing. I would not be surprised that that's absolutely what they said. It also comes down to the same thing where they say that she was moved out of the house, and I can tell you she wasn't. Like she was, her stuff is still there. You can see it in the photos. She was definitely moving out of the house, but she was not completely moved out.
I think they were probably like on a break too.
Well, they were about to go on break again.
Because she was like out of the parents for some time before that, like a week or whatever. Like she was she was not home for some. So that's why I was like, wait, so like how do they even know that like an apple, what did you call it, apple squeezy? How would they even know that was like from her or from that? Like,
well, I don't know if they can know it's from her. I just think it's that her room is still being utilized. Number one, that's my first thought. And then number two, maybe she ate them a lot, and so they know it was probably hers. But they okay, so there's this is gonna get gross now. I would not feed them to my kids because they are known to have mold in them. So I think they would probably be able to tell how old it was based on what the contents of it looked like, because they mold very quickly. So if you're somebody who eats them, just be cautious. They're known to mold.
I had no idea. And let me tell you something. So my kid wanted that. So I bought a like big box of them and he was eating them. It was perfectly fine. They were actually great to like throw in his lunchbox for school. So I didn't have to give him like spoons and shit and like hope that he didn't bring back a sticky spoon that was stuck to his back. Like it was just, he could throw it in the trash. And the one day out of the clear blue sky, he says, it doesn't taste good.
Oh God, because it was moldy.
And he doesn't like them. And I'm like, dude, what? You have like a whole ass box of these. What do you mean? You've been eating them every day. What are you talking about? So anyway, he ended up not eating any of those, eating the rest of them. And I was like, okay. And my mom was like, said something to me. I was like, I guess he doesn't like applesauce anymore. She's like, that's bullshit. My kid eats applesauce all the time. So now I'm wondering if that was what it was. Was it tasted weird because of that?
Probably. Yeah, they're bad. Yuck.
I mean, I haven't bought them since just because I thought if I just give it to him in the squeezy, he's automatically going to be like, I don't like it.
Well, yeah, because he's going to think it's yucky because it probably is. Not all of them are, but you got to be, you don't eat things out of a pouch. Eat it out of something clear. If it's clear and you can see. So some brands after that was a big deal came out with like the front of the package is got like a print on it, but the back is clear.
Yeah.
So you can actually see the food in it. You can see the sauce or whatever. You can go with those, but yeah. I don't do it.
Interesting.
There was another question in here that I thought was interesting. Now I don't know where it went. Oh, so the thing about Dylan, about why leave Dylan.
Oh, yeah, I have a big problem with that. The reason that I have a problem with that is because she was clearly more awake than we were led to believe. So I question how she didn't hear other things. For instance,
I think I'm going to say something. It's probably going to piss a lot of people off who listen to the channel. But there's a reason that these kids don't call 911. There's a reason that these kids don't call anybody until the next morning. Like you can tell me that they're drunk and they're underage and maybe that's the reason. Or there's something else going on. Like there's drugs, there's something that they don't want to get in trouble. I cannot get past it. It makes no sense to me. You know something's wrong. You know something's wrong enough that you're scared and you want to go to the other roommate's room. And I've always been like, I'm going to give Dylan the benefit of the doubt until I hear her testify. Like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with like Letitia Stout, but I always felt that way about Harley too. Like I really kind of judged Harley and then she testified and I was like, I feel very differently. So I was going to do the same with Dylan. I was like, okay, I'm not going to prejudge. I'm going to let the testimony come out the way that it comes out. But this is funky. Now that we know that they're awake the entire freaking time, they're calling other people to tell them they think shit is weird. They're in Snapchat conversations saying they think shit is weird, but they never go check on anybody. I can't make it make sense. I get it. They're young, but they knew enough to call dad. They knew enough to call, their friends. They knew enough to be on the chats telling other people weird shit was happening.
Here's my thing. If you're concerned and you message everybody in your house and only one person responds, you would think that as time goes on and the other 4 people in the house aren't responding, your fear would grow.
Right.
Because it's like, okay, it's not like, someone from upstairs
That's
and
right.
someone from downstairs all answered, but only 2 people didn't answer. It's 4 out of the 5 people you texted aren't responding and you think something's going on. But I always wondered if they weren't really scared. Like,
hey, Streets.
That night when it was happening, like maybe they weren't really scared. And
or they stopped being scared, and then they were like, okay, we'll just they're just all passed out. Everybody was drinking, and
nope,
everybody was probably passed out.
Nope.
We'll just give it a few hours, and then we'll see what happens, and then
None of that works. It doesn't work because
no, I don't think so either.
They're up, and then they don't even go upstairs at all. Like, if you're not scared, there's no reason not to go upstairs. So I'm not with the whole they maybe weren't scared. But remember I told you the last time we talked about this, that the whole, like, there's something weird, and it could be a simple explanation. There's something weird to me and off when I read the whole thing about Dylan having very vivid dreams since high school, that people are chasing her and trying to kidnap her. And then she's got like all the brows in her bedroom. And it could be the simple explanation could be, and I would be curious to know if this was not the first time that Dylan's like messaged everybody in the house because she thought someone was like woke up or whatever. But now that we know that she was awake, I'm a little bit confused about all the comments about how she was half asleep and didn't know if she was sleeping or awake.
But we know she's on her phone now. I was all for that. They were drunk, they passed out, they fell asleep, then
You
they wake
entered
up.
a contact. Whose contact were you entering?
Who's added as a contact? Yeah, that's a great point.
I mean, you have to be entirely coherent to be like adding. Like, I'll be on my phone until I go to sleep. But like when I wake up like say I'm working on a spreadsheet and I fall asleep, I wake up and like I either didn't do anything or I've typed a bunch of weird shit like in one of the cells as I'm falling asleep because like my pencil hit it or whatever.
Right.
But I'm not like creating and saving contacts.
No.
It was almost like and if you looked at there was a new document and I linked it. So we got, let me go to when this is all happening. So 407. So 411 is when Dylan hears, and this is after she was already awoken, blah, 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 blah. She already looked out of her room once. She hears who she thinks is Kaylee say there's someone here. She looks out her bedroom and doesn't see anything. Well, 411 would have been when the guy was like coming in the house. Because at 4:07:47, so almost at 4:08, is when he's like on camera. By the time you park the car, get out of your car, go into the house, like you'd be peeking out of your door at the time that the person's walking in.
Correct.
So I always found it weird that for the 3 or 4 times that she looked out of her bedroom door, she didn't happen to catch this person in between bedrooms or floors. And secondly, if you've watched their TikToks, the whole house is wood. So when they go up the steps, it is loud. It echoes. It's the whole house. They don't have any rugs. Mm-hmm. So it's very loud. Her bedroom wall shares a wall with a small stairwell of 2 flights of steps that go upstairs. She didn't hear anybody's foot going up the steps and down the steps.
Well, I mean, supposedly she sees Kaylee come down. But
Well, okay,
how does that make sense when she's supposedly asleep, but yet she's entering contacts into her phone?
So at 4:17 is when that 1112 King Road camera picks up the audio of they say what sounds like voices or a whimper followed by a thud, and then the dog starts barking, right? And so I'm already annoyed that she doesn't mention anything about the dog barking. And after all of that, she then opens the door again and she sees this man and he's walking towards her. So that's 4:17. We'll say she looks out her door at 4:18, right? At 4:19, Bethany calls her. Bethany calls her first. Then Dylan calls Xana. Then she calls Kaylee. Then she calls Bethany. Then they talk on the phone for 41 seconds. And then the car is seen on camera again. Then Bethany calls Xana. Then Dylan calls Maddie. Bethany calls Maddie. Bethany calls Ethan. So Bethany was the first one to initiate a phone call to Dylan, and it happened like as Dylan was watching this man inside the house.
Well, he's not seen on camera until 4:20.
4:20. No, he's 4:20:47.
Yeah, 4:20:47.
And at 4:20:28, Dylan calls Bethany and they talk for 41 seconds. So they're literally on the phone as this person is speeding away.
Where's the one that...
The one what?
Hold on, I'm looking.
I just find it interesting that basically right away. Now, it would make sense. So if Bethany set this whole thing in motion, it would make sense. So let's say that this 4:17, the voices of a whimper followed by a thud, right? And then the dog starts barking nonstop. If Bethany heard that downstairs, let's say coming from Xana's room, I mean, she was really quick to call Dylan. I mean, it was within 2 minutes.
Why is Bethany calling Dylan?
Right. I thought that was the document you were looking for.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have the new one too that has it. I wanted to see if it matched because I'm pretty sure in the defense or in the state's first one,
they left that out.
Yeah, I was just thinking that because they have it where Dylan calls Bethany and Bethany doesn't answer.
Right. And they don't have anything there about Dylan and Bethany talking for 41 seconds.
So
the state doesn't.
No. Why is Bethany calling Dylan? What is Bethany here that makes her call Dylan?
Right.
We don't have a text message here from Dylan to Bethany yet. We don't have a missed call yet. What time was it? What time was it that Dylan calls Bethany and Bethany doesn't answer? What time is that?
I don't exactly know. So when the state put it up, he said between like 4:19 and 4:22, Dylan calls basically everybody and nobody answers.
Right, but that's not here.
But then the defense broke it all down starting at 4:19 and broke it down to the times exactly when she called each person.
But where's the missed call from Dylan to Bethany on the new documents?
There's not one. It looks like Bethany called Dylan and that perhaps maybe Dylan missed that call. But the question would be, 4:19:07, Bethany calls Dylan. Then at 4:20, Dylan calls Xana. 4:20 and 20 seconds, Dylan calls Kaylee. And then 8 seconds later, Dylan calls Bethany, and they talk for 41 seconds. And then what's interesting is that then 4:21, Bethany calls Xana. 4:21, Dylan calls Madison. 4:22, Bethany calls Madison. Bethany calls Ethan. And then all of a sudden, 8 seconds later, Dylan's texting Bethany saying, no one's answering. I'm really confused. So did Bethany call and say something about something?
What did Bethany hear? Well, this is making more sense on why the defense really wanted to talk to Bethany before.
Yes.
Because the
and
whole
if you remember, it
Dylan
said that
calling her
Bethany,
being a missed call. So Bethany heard something.
it said that Bethany, if you remember that when they tried to get her to come back from Nevada, it said the investigator put that he reviewed like the interviews that they had done, and that night Bethany had seen and heard things that were exculpatory to Brian Kohberger, and that she's the only one who could testify to those things that she saw and heard. So she absolutely saw
the Xana. Xana was wearing all black.
No, I think that because she's not the only one that, I mean, you could look at their Instagram and know that she was wearing all black. And also Dylan would have known that too, because she saw them when they got home.
Mm-hmm.
So Dylan or Bethany saw and heard something or some things that Dylan did not, because they said that Bethany is the only one who could testify to the stuff she saw and heard.
Correct.
Which would mean she had to be alone. And it wasn't something that Dylan would have also seen or heard, meaning anything really. Now, maybe Bethany heard the dog start barking. I don't know. I mean, she calls right after the dog starts barking and has been barking for over a minute. But I would wonder if she called Kaylee, because we know that that's not Dylan's dog. It's Kaylee's dog. So if that had prompted the phone call, like if I was in my house and a motherfucker's dog started barking and it's been like a minute, it's 4:00 in the morning, like I'd be calling them and be like, what is wrong with your dog?
What the fuck is wrong with your dog?
Shut your dog up. You know what I mean?
I'm trying to find that first one. It says that she called Bethany and Bethany didn't answer. This is going to bother me a lot because they're leaving that completely out of the timeline. And if it goes along, if they're doing it in the full sentence of, Dylan calls Bethany, Dylan calls Xana, Dylan calls Maddie, Dylan calls Kaylee, and nobody answers, right? Like that's the whole context of it.
Mm-hmm.
That isn't happening yet until after.
Also, the state doesn't mention that at 2:53, Maddie calls Bethany.
Yeah, that's all happening here. And then the text message, so we know it's before this, no one is answering. All of these calls where nobody's answering the phone, they've already talked on the phone.
Right. Well, to be honest, Dylan saying nobody's answering, I'm really confused right now. That could make sense if Bethany said something to her when she called her that prompted Dylan to start calling people, and then Dylan's confused because she's like,
well, and she's like, I saw some dude like that had like was wearing all black.
You know what would be really interesting? If that whole scenario that we just said did happen, and then on top of that, Bethany then tried to convince Dylan that she didn't see a man in the house because Xana was also wearing all black.
But why would Bethany call Dylan at 4:19 if she didn't think something?
Right. And also, Dylan sees the man. Now that we know that the state's saying that this car parked basically parallel to the house, right?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
And she saw this person walking towards the back door. She didn't see them actually go out the door, but she saw them walking towards the back door, the sliding glass door. So did that person walk around the front of the house and pass Bethany's front windows?
Well, remember there was the big rumor that Bethany saw a man outside.
Well, if he would have went out the sliding glass door and went right and walked around the front of the house to get to his car parked on the side of the house, then he would have passed Bethany's window. Now, if he would have turned left out of the sliding glass door to go to his car parked on the side of the house, he would have passed Dylan's bedroom window. So is it possible that Dylan saw him in the house and then Bethany saw him pass her window? And perhaps the exculpatory information is that either their description of the person doesn't match,
Mm-hmm.
or Bethany saw an entirely different person or someone with a mask off. Do you remember when this first happened? So I know somebody in here is going to remember. There was because now I'm wondering what all shit in the beginning is true. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you all remember the Snapchat photo that was going around in the beginning of a man? I'm assuming it was a man with a black mask on.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have that photo?
I probably do. Let me look.
Because let's just say that person is not unknown and happened to post that at a particular time where the girls who then spent multiple hours after this ordeal looking at Snapchat, if they happen to see that, could they have been like, oh, maybe this is who we saw? So-and-so was outside with a mask on.
Let me see. It would be in my phone. All my old Idaho stuff's in my phone, so I'm looking real quick.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I'm going to look for it too because I know I have that photo.
I'm sure I have it. I have it right here. Let me send it to myself real quick so I can put it up on the computer.
Now it was, if I remember correctly, it was different. It was like a ski, but it wasn't like a baklava or whatever, however you say it. It was like a normal ski mask. Yeah, with like the eyes. Oh, I'm sure they've been scrubbed from the internet.
I have it. There's not much from the beginning of the case I don't have. It's more the stuff from the last year that I stopped following. All the little intricacies of the social media stuff.
Yeah, it was a guy that, and I feel like it said something catastrophe, but I can't remember. Like I feel like it had words on it, but I
one I have doesn't have words on it.
I remember the person like looking directly at
the Deli Boys.
What does it say?
The Deli Boys.
Interesting. So that was going around.
I saved it on my phone on November 22nd of 2022. So it was pretty damn early.
The only thing though is that she said, I'm assuming that text is saying that his mouth was covered.
Can't see any eyebrows here.
But we're assuming she saw eyebrow. First of all, it is of major concern to me that like she's surrounded by eyebrows. If I'm just being honest, surrounded by eyebrows in her bedroom. And people are persuadable, I guess. They're pliable. Their memories are pliable. If Dylan saw somebody and Bethany saw somebody, and then they went in the same bedroom together for 8 hours and talked about the somebodies that they saw. I mean, Dylan couldn't even really, she's like said she saw one eyebrow. And that she remembered, and that the person was white, but she doesn't know why they were white. She can't remember how she knew they were white. Didn't know the color of the eyebrows. Where's CH?
There was another one with a group of them in ski masks, a pose picture. Okay, let me see if I have that. This is the one I remember. When she said that, this was the first thing I thought of. I don't know if I have.
Oh, CH, are you talking about the one with the girls in it too?
I need to put all this in my Google Drive.
I need to go look at my old stuff. I think they had pink ones, CH, and there were girls.
And I'm looking. Found this on TikTok. Probably should check it out before it gets taken down. The Deli Boys. That's from the same thread.
We could probably make a whole ass live just of pulling up the old shit, like the shit from back when it happened. You have to remember, this happened 3 years, well, almost.
It'll be close to 3 years by the time he goes to trial, if we get to trial in August.
Yeah, that's like a long time. It doesn't feel like it's been that long, but
No, it really doesn't.
Like, I remember this happening.
I know I was covering.
They were digging up the yard.
They were doing a big search for Michael Vaughn at the time.
Yeah.
And it happened, and I was like, holy shit, they're taking up my whole feed on this Idaho thing that happened when I'm trying to get to all my stuff on Michael Vaughn, because they're both in Idaho. And so all the Idaho reporters were like covering this. And then I was like, all right, fine. You guys are forcing me to look at it. So like 3 days after, I was like, all right, here we go. And then I was in.
Like, I was talking to Alex, who was there for the Michael Vaughn stuff. And then this happened. And she was like, now I have to go out there. I went to school there.
That's who I followed.
By herself.
That's who I was following on Twitter for Michael Vaughn.
Yeah.
And she did. She went to school at Idaho in Moscow. And so her whole feed was like, yes, that's exactly who it was.
Yeah, she was like beside herself. Like, she was like,
yes, and she couldn't. I was like, get back to what's going on with Michael Vaughn. I'm in the middle of covering it.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember. I'd have to go look at my messages, but I can't remember if she like chose to leave to go there because she like knew people there, or if they sent her there. But no, I remember her saying, yeah, I remember her saying, like, I've literally been to that house. Like, I went to school there. And she was like, she was really shook up about it. And then she kind of disappeared for a while. I don't even know really that I've talked to her much after they didn't really find anything with Michael Vaughn. And then this drug on for a while. I didn't want to bother her about this because I assumed that she knew people that were still there. I mean, she's very young, but
yeah, she had just graduated like a year or two before that.
Yeah.
I can't find the other one. I don't know if I have it or not. I'll take all the photos that I have on my phone and I upload them to my Google Drive. So,
oh my God, the incel stuff. I can't like how that's even still a thing that's going around. I don't understand. Like, there's literally interviews with the neighbors, specifically one of the neighbors who nobody has a hard time believing that Brian Koberger would like sweep his house, his apartment at 3 o'clock in the morning. Everyone believes
he
that.
vacuumed all the time.
Yeah. Everyone's like, oh yeah, he totally looks like that. But like nobody wants to believe the same neighbors who say that he was there with a little Asian girl all the time, laughing and going into his apartment. He was not an incel. Like, you cannot be an incel and also be a killer. Like, do people know that? You don't have to be a creep. In fact, the most dangerous killers are the ones that aren't weird and aren't creepy. You know what I mean?
Yes.
If anything, those are the ones you gotta look out for, is the totally normal and like personable, and I mean, they're the ones that get you, not the weird ones, because most people stay away from the weird ones.
Yeah, I don't think he was like overly like social, and he was, he was a bit odd, but I'll have to see if I can find it.
I mean, I think he was awkward,
I have to go get Kaylee. So.
Oh yeah.
That time of the night.
It is. But also, I have to read the new stuff anyway.
Oh, there's so much. Okay, thank you, Delana. Yes, please send it to me. And I'll hopefully when I sit down tonight, I'll get all this shit off my phone, since now like this is becoming such a big deal. But tomorrow, so here's kind of the plan for the rest of the week. So tomorrow is another Idaho Live on documents. Friday during the day, so like 12 o'clock my time, which is Pacific, I'm actually going to go and be on Delphi After Dark to talk Delphi. And then I guess Friday night will probably depend on how much we still have to go through with Idaho. And then I'm hoping, Sleuthy, that this weekend we're going to be able to do a couple Karen Reed lives going into Karen Reed for next week. Because I haven't done anything with the documents or the recent hearings. So I kind of wanted to smash it into a couple updated videos, like, shorter videos that get us ready and prepared for trial. And then did you still want to stream the trial, or did you want to do updates at night?
Oh, no, let's definitely stream the trial.
Okay, perfect. Even if it's like 45 bazillion days?
I mean, I would rather like sit through 45 bazillion days in the daytime than 7 hours at night trying to catch up after watching it all day.
It's true. It is true. I'd rather do that too. I would rather do that too. Okay, so we'll stream the trial. I'll probably just set up the lives and everything and have them going like real time, or should we do them later in the morning? I guess we can decide that. But how we want to, if we want to start later and so we can fast forward stuff, or.
I think we'll definitely want to fast forward. I think even if we do that, we're still at some point going to catch up live, because you know how Bev is with her breaks.
True.
So, and she's always late. So it's like.
All right. Yeah. So tomorrow is Idaho again. So if you guys want to come back for some more Idaho stuff, we're going to dive further into the documents, and do some, hopefully some more organized, with response, like what was filed, what the response was, what the response to the response was, and we can kind of have it more fluid based on what the topic is versus going by the date that those are released. Well, thank you, Streets. But I enjoy the Delphi Streets every once in a while, So tomorrow.
Yeah, what did you say about Delphi?
Going on with Rick Snay on Friday.
Oh.
To talk Delphi.
What day is today?
Today's Wednesday. So okay. Thursday is going to be Idaho
here.
Probably 3:30-ish my time. I don't know. We'll see. Probably 3:30-ish by the time so tomorrow day I can get all the documents and stuff lined up and ready to go. Make sure you guys go and watch the video that I posted of the Linda Lane footage compared to what the state put in the document. Here, I think I have the link handy. Let me grab it. Make sure you guys go watch that. It's a short video. It's not super long. It just kind of shows the timelines of the Linda Lane footage compared to when the state says that they see the white Elantra behind the Queen Apartments.
Where it's making the loop all the way around the complex.
Yep. So he passes 5 times, but one of those times is a 3-point turn in the back of the parking lot.
Legal Lacey, it's Delphi After Dark. That's the channel.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll post it anyway, Lacey. You'll know. You'll know before it happens. So no toes. Nobody showed you any toes tonight.
It wasn't the toe. It's just as ugly though.
I need to do a Delphi live on this channel, but right now I gotta get caught up with Idaho, and we gotta get back in Karen Reed, so we're ready for trial. Let me see if I got the picture real quick.
What picture?
Delena was going to send me the picture of the girls of the masks. You know what? I don't actually know if I have this one. That doesn't look familiar to me.
I'm picturing.
All right, I'll bring it up tomorrow.
Okay.
Pull up the F poll. I need to check something real quick. Mavhawk. If you guys have not gone and watched my coverage on Todd Mullis, please take the time to watch the Todd Mullis trial and the Todd Mullis post-conviction relief hearing. We are waiting to hear if that man is going to get a new trial, and I 100 bazillion% believe he is innocent and has been incarcerated for 6 years on a false allegation. So,
is there any kind of time frame for that? Like, when are we going to find out?
So April 8th, the briefs are due, and then she said that she should have a decision shortly after she receives the briefs from both sides.
What briefs?
From Todd's attorneys and from the prosecution. Like, they're finalized. This is why we think you should rule in our favor. 5 pages each with citations on precedent. Yeah, it's seriously worth rewatching. If he gets a new trial, there's going to be so many people that are like going to freak out and jump on it that don't even know anything about the history of it, and it's so worth it. It's such a good case. It's just an interesting case anyway. And then if you're really into believing that the perpetrator is innocent and the state is corrupt, I talk about a perfect case for you to go watch.
All you have to do is look at that man's hair to know that he's corrupt.
Correct. I'm like 90% caught up on Todd Mullis. I think I just need to watch the end of the last day. Oh, yeah, you're pretty good then. Comb-over, yeah. Prosecutor Comb-over was pissing me the fuck off.
Dude, it's not even just the comb-over. It's like it starts so far back. He's got like an 8 head.
Well, you can see where his hairline should be.
Oh, it's so bad. It is the worst I have ever seen.
So it's so bad. I'm just like, just get it. He just needs to get a toupee. I'm going to be scared for that ruling. I'm nervous. I'm really trying to stay positive and keeping the belief that our system does actually care. I'm really trying to stay positive. So
I think that's what fucked him the first time. So maybe we shouldn't, He
tried to stay positive and think that that the justice was going to be served and he was going to be able to go home to his family because it was a freak accident. But it didn't work out that way. So, all right. Well, thank you guys for hanging out with us. Sleuthy, as always, I love you to pieces. And thanks for making me do a map on Idaho. So I was
so pissed off. I was hoping if I pissed you off that you would just finish it for me. That's like,
I did.
I would rather make 300 spreadsheets than sit here and try to
go do the timeline. I'll do the map.
Yeah.
So closer to trial, when Sleuthy is more caught up on the new Idaho spreadsheet, we're going to go do a straight timeline live on Idaho. It'll just be walking everybody straight through the timeline of what the state and the defense says happened. So we'll do that too, but that's not coming yet. That's in preparation. So, but I love you guys as always. I know you have 1,000 other places you could be, and yet you still choose to hang out with me and Sleuthy, and we love you. Thank you. We'll see you mañana. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Do you dare to follow me down? Head into the unknown. Down the rabbit hole. Where it stops, no